Adjust the ranks. I played that one first because I wanted people to think that maybe that was a potentially serious intro. I have a bunch of intros that are not nearly that serious. It's time to adjust the ranks.
I'm in a different mood all of a sudden.
Listen, we're going to change it every single time. Welcome into Adjust the Ranks. I am Jeremy Schulman at Adjust the Ranks at FFRebel _Rebel on Twitter. This is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05, the Dynasty Daddy. I love it. We are here to present to you a mock draft, which we still have room for, by the way. My Twitter's not working. The Adjust the Ranks Twitter isn't working. We don't have anything going but Jesse's Twitter at the moment. And YouTube isn't verified yet. We're brand new. So if you have 3 eyes on us, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to just try to provide some insight to you in mock drafts here. And we're doing today a Dynasty 10-man 1 QB mock draft. But before we do that, Jesse, just to give you a final show as an introduction, this is one of my favorites that me and my son was able to help me do here. Adjust the ranks.
Adjust the ranks.
That's like the 90s intro, like you make the best part of me. Yeah, like that. That's exactly what I thought of. I'm old.
And all right, I'm gonna do one more too because I'm very proud of all of the time that I wasted doing this. But I'm gonna do one more, and this one I think. Let me know if this is just okay or it actually like funny or it actually slaps because I think it kind of works out.
You got to admit, I don't know what's going on anymore. We got all sorts of them. Not the whole intro, because that's pretty good. I'm looking at all of these. They're fantastic. You got a mood for everything you need. We are good to go.
That's it, man. So that's enough. We'll have some more surprises for the 4 people who are watching us at the moment later on. But this will all be posted on YouTube. We're going to be doing this weekly, provided we can fill the mock drafts, which is something we're struggling with because you know what? Everyone's sick of fantasy. We get it. But you know what? We dress up for the occasion here at Adjust the Ranks. If you haven't, over at the FFU, we are just finished our award show. So you can check that out over on our YouTube. But here and now, we have our mock draft going on, and we are going to present it to you. Now, we have a few empty spots. People are getting ready for the playoffs, which happen here in just about 25 minutes. So we're a little late kicking off. But we are also ready to go here, and we'll just let the chat know as we begin, Jesse. And all here we go. And we'll give them about 30 seconds to jump in. Jesse, in a 1 QB, is there anything here that you're looking at as we get ready to fire this up? You're muted, by the way.
Excuse me. Yeah, this is professional quality we're going on here.
Hey, we're good.
It's pretty slim down starting roster spots, so I just want as many different players as possible. So I'm going to push up quarterbacks. I'm going to push up some of the elite tight ends. I'm going to do that because we're only starting. I think there's only 8 starting roster spots in this mock draft.
Yeah.
2, 4, 5, 6, 9. So it's a little bit lower. It's a 10-team league, so you're starting 90 players total. So this is a long-winded way of me saying I want the elite players at every position.
Absolutely, and I'll go through the starting roster in just a second, but I'm going to fire this mock up far too loud. But as you can see, we have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 3 flex spots. So that's really what's going to give it to you here. We have a 12-round mock in place. And as you can see, Jesse, no surprise off the board, the first 2 picks, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. In these first 4 picks here, with you coming up at the 106, any surprises or anything that you're looking at here?
No. As you can see, Sleeper has not updated their ADP because so it's Christian McCaffrey this high, which is just absurd. There goes Bijan. I think it really comes down to, and I can kind of like prolong this out a little bit so I talk about these guys. Yeah, like people want the wide receivers in this scoring format. I think it's just standard PPR, right? Like I haven't actually checked, which is my fault. Maybe you could chime in on that.
Yeah, standard. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So like you're only starting 2 wide receivers. You're gonna have a lot of flex spots. I want to see how the market shifts on the running backs, considering it was a running back heavy season. Like we had Jamar Chase do his thing, but like a lot of the wide receivers that were drafted really high, the Garrett Wilsons, AJ Browns, they kind of like let a little bad taste in your mouth. So what I'm going to do is, as tempting as Jahmyr Gibbs sounds, I'm taking Puka Nacua here. Like he's the perfect like elite playmaker, like super young wide receiver. They're going to give you everything you need. He just came off one of the best seasons, just injury. So I'm going to take Puka and lock it in and just go for that. Because McCaffrey there, like, woo, that's not happening anymore. But I appreciate computer for you.
Yeah, the computer continues to want to. Can I remove what I got to pause the draft, don't I?
You got to like right click it or something. I think.
Yeah. All right. So this isn't going to happen too much, but at least in the first round, I think we got to give him Gibbs. Yeah.
You got to give him Gibbs. Yeah.
Yeah. Manually set Gibbs. All right. That makes a ton of sense. Way more sense here than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, I think, is really going to plummet down the ranks, especially in Dynasty, but even in redraft. I mean, you just don't know if the guy's going to stay healthy. He could give you one more elite season, but you have no clue. So we're absolutely going to skip him. If you look at the remaining guys, Tyreek Hill is another guy who's going to be selected here by the computer who really shouldn't be. He's far, far too high. And really right now, what we have to do is we have to dig through the rankings to find the guys that we want to find. Malik Neighbors is one of those guys here who would be the wide receiver 7 off the board. That's phenomenal value. But really when I'm starting up, Jesse, I kind of want to go for those wide receivers. Garrett Wilson is right there, but not at Malik Neighbors level. Drake London just came off a wide receiver 5 season, so he is right there. There's some good names here, but I'll ask you the question as I pick Malik Neighbors and think about my second pick here. What are you looking at here as a build? Are you trying to start with a ton of young wide receivers, or are you shifting a little bit because everyone's doing that and going for running backs and tight ends?
Well, considering we don't have the rookie picks in this draft, it really forces up the player values. Because, like, we'd be at this point in time, like Jency would already be in the discussion, right? We'd talk about the 101 in rookie drafts. He would I think Marvin Harrison Jr. Like he would go below Neighbors, he would go below there. Yeah, you're looking for value because we don't play games for 9 months, so value is at an all-time high right now with rookie picks and just young players. So that's all you're trying to do is insulate your roster with as many players like that as possible. So I think I know which way you're going to go, and that's the way I would probably go too. So I'm gonna fade running back for the meantime, unless it's the elite, like the Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Gentis, and those types.
For sure. For me, with 10 seconds left here, I'm going to try something a little bit different. It's a little high. I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. and get a little spicy with it. And at this point, we're just going to we're going to let these guys go. At this point, I think it's too much. We'll just talk about that another time. But Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. for me, just locking down 2 elite rookie wide receivers for the foreseeable future. And of course, you can say Marvin Harrison belongs in the discussion. Brian Thomas is too high. You're probably right. But you know what? Let's try out the build here in the offseason and see how we feel about it. Going into a situation where, ADP isn't necessarily great right now.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is deserving of that spot. He should be a first-round pick. In 1 QB startups, with no rookie picks, once you get past, Puka, Jahmyr, those guys, I think you can make the case for Brian Thomas Jr. to go right where Bruce Hall went. That's how valuable he is. So I think you made the right choices. I think you did a really good job. What I'm in a really bad spot in this part of the draft because I do not like a lot of the guys in there. I could go H-N. I'm just going to take Bucky just because why not? If I can find his butt. Let's just draft him here for fun. See how that goes. Because this is a mock and he's that good. It's just really, at this point in the draft, you want super young guys that are inside that are going to be productive. So Jonathan Taylor's not a bad pick as well. The age is kind of catching up to him. He's going to be 26 next year. So you kind of have to take a part into the age value. I think Garrett Wilson is a really well done pick, but we have no idea what's going on with the situation. As weird as it says, I think Bucky's as insulated as anybody in this range, so I might as well take the other problem, guys.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. And Bucky Irving is my RB8. Jonathan Taylor, my RB10. There's a couple of guys I would prefer above those guys, but when you're talking about running backs, you got Kyron Williams. Let's take a look. You got the older guys, Saquon Barkley. Achane is a guy who I would take above all of these running backs. And as you can see here as well, you got Etienne and McCaffrey. Those guys will not be there. certainly in your startups. So we're early in the off season. We'll pretend that we've got a couple of guys who are for some reason in this startup who are not paying any attention or who want to win now, which, hey, happens in startups. But yeah, I think for right now, when you talk about the way that the draft is going and how you want to build, it's interesting to me that you went with Bucky this high. Are you thinking you want to go with a simple, hero RB build, or are you just going to play it? And if running back falls, you'll just go for running back.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the most impactful young guys that are available. So I don't want the old guys just because their market is just not insulated. We don't know what happens with a lot of these guys. Like Tyreek was talking about trade. You don't know what's happening. So I want difference makers as many positions as possible. And you can make the case to take HN, but dude, his situation plummeted this last year. So I think it's between those two guys. I don't think you can go wrong. I think Nico's a very good pick at wide receiver. You go Bowers, all of these guys, you can make the case for anyone. And yeah, if you want to do what James did, where he goes Chase, Barkley, HN, where he locks in the two elite producers and then young guy, I think that's a well-done way to do it. So really a bunch of different ways you can go here. I think the question I'll ask you is, what do you think quarterback goes? When does somebody pull the trigger on one QB on a quarterback?
Yeah, I think quarterback one is still Josh Allen. But there's the thing with quarterback is it's all of a sudden deep. Jaden Daniels came in and looked great. Caleb Williams, I think, has room to grow, even though he didn't have the best rookie season for sure. Baker Mayfield really stepped up. Sam Darnold, if he stays in Minnesota, is a viable option. And then, of course, you got the guys who are just in great offenses. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, who put up a couple of 3-4 touchdown games. Even a guy like, why am I blanking on him? Nope, it's gone. But there's plenty of QBs, and it feels a lot deeper, right? So
yes,
that's what's most interesting to me. As you make your pick, and I'll let you talk about it afterwards, I'm just going to do a recap of what we had. So you see the first round, we had 7 wide receivers go there and 3 running backs and a 10-man. We flip around, and we're going to ignore those 3 computer picks there. But Jesse taking Bucky, Garrett Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers, and Saquon. As you mentioned, the double RB stack, and then Drake London. I love that pick there at 302. Trey McBride at 303. Those picks are fantastic. I don't love AJ Brown there at 304, but it makes sense. And then Kyron at 305. Jesse, talk to us about Ladd McConkey.
So I had trepidation about Ladd coming into the season. He blew everything out of the water. Yards per out run on the outside, he was 3rd in the NFL. Among all wide receivers on the outside, he was dominant. So he's that traditional Swiss Army knife where I thought that was going to be Ricky Pearsall. He's a way much better player than that at this point in time. He's got Justin Herbert. He's locked in. He was everything you could have asked for. Yeah, sure, maybe there's injury concern, but he proved to me he's as safe as you're going to get. Even if they add to that wide receiver room, he's an elite targeter, over 30%. Just everything you want out of a wide receiver in today's NFL, where he's not going to get pressed at the line of scrimmage. Ladd checks all those boxes. So as much as I like Rome and I like a couple of these other guys, I'm taking Ladd because the floor is super high. The one thing, the one guy I will say you can make the case for is T. Higgins, and I think it's probably a really good case to take him because he's not old. He's going to be 26. I just want the insulation because my team builds so young. I just lean a little bit younger with youth at this point in time because we're not trying to score points right now. We're just trying to gain value. So that's why I like that.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree with you. And you see that with a little bit of my help, Team 9 ended up sniping Chris Olave from me, who would have been my pick. Kenneth Walker also off the board, who I think is a good pick here. Running back still has good value. We got James Cook. We got Derrick Henry. I like Derrick Henry for at least another season there. But I'm gonna, I think, triple stack my wide receivers. I could go Rome, but I think it's a little too early for that type of pick. You mentioned T. Higgins. We also have a couple other rookies here. Rashee Rice is really interesting, but I'm going to go with my boy and your boy, Jackson Smith in Jigba. Fell way too far in this draft, and he will not. He is my dynasty wide receiver 10, and I really think he's absolutely going to ball out once again. Is he the 1A moving forward? I don't know. DK had a weird, bad down season, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, even if he's the 1B, I think he still does very well in this offense. And then for my second pick here, tight end has really gone off the board. These are the top 3 guys that I want. Andrews, we got Kittle here, look pretty good. But I'm going to pass on those. I cannot take a fourth wide receiver in good conscience. Maybe I will, Jesse. Maybe I'll just do it and take me some T. Higgins. I love to start a wide receiver with a ton of wide receivers. Why don't you talk to us about who you're planning on as I remove Patrick Mahomes? We can leave Josh Allen there, but Patrick Mahomes to me makes no sense. So as I insert George Pickens, Rashi, I think insert Rashi.
You could do Rashi, Worthy, any one of those guys. I think they're all good picks. It's basically just Kansas City wide receiver. Insert them here. Yeah, like I think this is the point in time where the draft kind of shifts, and like I think Josh Allen is a good pick there if somebody wants to do that. Because I'm honestly thinking Lamar right here. I think that's a really good pick. If you do, because there's a lot of similar bets here, right? If you're looking at all the wide receivers, there's like the Ayuk coming off the injury. Romo Dunze is a really good pick if you want to go that the insulation and trust the process with Caleb Williams. I think he's a really good pick. Worthy. As you can tell at this point in time, nobody wants to draft the old guys. So who wants to take Josh Jacobs because he's the old back, right? It's really hard to trade these guys, particularly when like this is the peak draft season we're getting into, and we don't have those rookie picks. So we're basically replacing the rookie picks with really young players. So if you don't go like the elite, like potential young wide receiver, tight end is just tough, man. To your point at tight end, there's not a lot of good guys. So I probably should bet on one of these wide receivers, but Lamar's calling my name. So I'm going to take my QB1, Lamar Jackson, and just roll with it coming off of his peak season.
Yep. And
just solidify that position because I want the 1Z position. So getting Lamar here, I think gives me that. Oh, Stroud that early. Oh boy. That's computer's doing some special things. I'll just say that.
Let's pause that. We can't be doing this, computer. You make it so difficult. This is why we try to fill these drafts as much. We got 15 people in here watching. So if you have not followed Adjust the Ranks yet on Twitter, please do so. We always post our mock drafts well in advance. What do you think?
If they're going quarterback, just give Hurts. Like it makes way more sense to go Hurts than it does.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. As I figure out, we're not going to let the QB or the computer pick. We'll give him Hurts and we'll resume it. We'll steal him from SC potentially. But yeah, so he's going to take Devonta Smith instead. So you see kind of the run out here, Jesse. And as we look at the third round, let's talk a little bit about your pick, Ladd McConkey versus AJ Brown. Obviously, we have a serious age difference. But for me, AJ Brown just has the issue for him is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts steal all the touchdowns. So I just don't see an issue with taking Ladd McConkey over AJ Brown because Ladd has room to grow in an offense. We don't know what running back is going to look like. We know that Chargers team loves to run, but Ladd McConkey has the potential to be, again, the number one wide receiver. And even if he's a 1B, if they bring in an alpha there, I'm not really worried about it with Justin Herbert as quarterback. I think he's going to eat.
No, yeah, he's going to be a stud. Like this is, we had like, I was more on the Joshua Palmer train where I thought, I was like, I don't know if Ladd can do what he did.
Yep, sure.
But my thing was I discounted it because Brock Powers was so good. He was the ancillary piece of that offense, right? So he's everything you could ask for. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. got the draft capital, but like Ladd smashed and he was just a much better player overall from what he was on the field. So it's really about just how high you want to rank Ladd because he's wide receiver 12 in Dynasty. And I think you can make the case for like wide receiver 8 if you really want to go Super Bowls with him, which is basically what I did. So this is why I like the mocks because it kind of lets you experiment with it and see how it goes. And if you like the build, yeah, like I have no problem with someone taking him as their wide receiver 1 if they push wide receiver in a dynasty.
Yeah, for sure. And inadvertently, we've given Team 4 with the Jalen Hurts pick. We've given him a stack of AJ Brown, nice Jalen Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, and Jonathan Taylor. Team 4 knows what's up. The CPU with the rare, decent startup draft. We're not going to talk about the other ones. But as you can see here in round 4, we have Rashi, Waddle, Worthy, Devonta Smith, and Mike Evans as wide receivers. What do you think about the Mike Evans pick? I love Mike Evans for his production, but that one feels a little bit high in Dynasty. I know that we're not going to be supreme ageists. At the same time, I feel like you probably have some better wide receivers on the board. DJ Moore, perhaps, maybe even a Roma Dunze. I would value him over Mike Evans. George Pickens is still on the board. What are you thinking here about Mike Evans there?
Yeah, I know what he's doing. He's going for a win now build, so it makes sense to go with Evans. I would kind of like to meet in the middle on that and maybe go like Metcalf or maybe go, one of those like in between guys that has a little bit more. But like, what you're getting out of Mike Evans. It's really hard to. It's just you have to accept the fact you're not going to be able to trade him. Like that's like the peak value you're going to get for him. You're not going to get a first round pick for him. Berkey at this point in time. But yeah, you have Kittle, you have Evans. A team's going to be a juggernaut in year one. Like it's going to be really hard to beat them with Saquon, Jamar Chase. Like what you're getting. And I gave him the poop emoji there just for fun, just because it's, the emojis fines are fine there. Yeah, I'm going to take Odunze here because I've kind of committed to a super young build. So I have Lamar, I got Bucky. I'm just rounding it out with just young, promising wide receivers who I know are going to hold value and insulate. And if he takes a step forward with Keenan Allen, then I have a true difference maker there too. Oh, Jesus. I was talking too long. My bad. And there goes the Holmes and Stroud back to back.
I got to remove it.
Oh, goodness. The Rachaad White pick might be even worse. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to pause it. Oh, man. I do not want to be making all these picks for the computer, but holy crap. We're going to give Team 8. What do you think? DJ Moore?
I mean,
DK?
Yeah, if you want it.
DK.
Yeah, that's fine. DK's fine. Yeah.
And we'll give him DJ Moore. Why not?
Didn't Team 9 take a quarterback right after Josh Allen? Like that, yeah, that's the problem. It's more conservative. Yeah,
why not? Let's do that.
You're kind of just like screw it, right?
These guys don't know what the hell they're doing. I do love the people who are in the mock know what the hell they're doing, and we appreciate you for joining us. And if you want to join us, you can always do that. Just follow at Adjust the Ranks on Twitter, and we post those out. We're doing them weekly on the weekends here. All the way up through February. And then as we, we'll ramp up rookie drafts, we'll ramp up after that, we'll ramp up a redraft and more dynasty mocks. So please pay attention to that. I cannot in good conscience take another wide receiver here.
Are you sure?
So, I mean, there's probably some good ones out there. But I think I probably need to take Mark Andrews here. He's my tight end 5 in Dynasty. He's the tight end 5 here. So I'm not getting supreme value, but I am making sure that I lock down a position that with my 4 wide receiver build, who I'm very happy with at the moment, I need to make sure that I lock it down elsewhere. If you are going to go with a build where you are totally neglecting a position, for me, routinely, it's running back. You have to make sure you are strong everywhere else. And so that means I need to look at quarterback and need to look at probably Joe Burrow. Burrow is really the guy here. I think he's my QB4 in Dynasty. That makes sense. I have to double check my rankings here, but Joe Burrow is going to be the guy. Obviously, the elite production. He doesn't need the rushing to get you there. We know he's losing T. Higgins potentially. At least we assume T is going to take the bag. If T. Higgins stays, I have a nice elite stack. And also Joe Burrow is higher up the list. If T. Higgins leaves, it's fine. I think Joe Burrow is well insulated, super safe, and we love it. And I don't. You're auto, Jesse. Are you good with Pickens? Or
that's
no?
fine. I had him highlighted, so I'm fine with Pickens here. That's not really a big deal. I'm okay.
I need to remove Tank though.
That value unfortunately is kaput right now. So I'd say probably Zay Flowers is the top.
Yeah, we'll replace him with Tank Dell.
That's
clone Zay Flowers. That's fine. Pacheco I don't love, but I think it's good value on him. And if he returns to form next season, I don't think he's going to get there in the playoffs. He's not going to look good, so he might even fall further down the board. What do you think about Isaiah Pacheco's future prospects as the KC running back?
It's so these day 3 running backs, it gets really risky with a lot of these guys. We've talked about it in the certain positions. Like it's just wide open. You don't know with this draft class what's going to happen. So if you're taking him, you have to accept the risk. They could draft another high end like round 2 running back. Maybe they do round 1. They get they get one of those guys that falls. Like we saw Travion Henderson do his thing. If he goes to Kansas City, like entirely could be possible, right? So they're not tied to Pacheco, but he's been good. We'll see what happens with his contract because he's basically a day 3 pick. He has no insurances. There's a ton of risk involved with him. And I took this ultimate boom bust guy myself and George Pickens. So I want to talk about risk. I'm willing to accept it. I just know like that team, they're desperate. They need Pickens. He's basically their entire offense. Now it'll probably frustrate the hell out of me trying to start him, but it is what it is. Taking that shot. So yeah, I understand they go in Pacheco, but I would much rather go I like the James Williams pick. That's a good pick from SC because you know what you're getting out of him. So yeah, it's just how much risk do you want to take in this part of the draft?
Yep. And we are talking about a league with 3 flexes. So we'll have a look at our rosters in a bit here. But let's recap what we've done so far. So if you look in round 5, we had Kittle and Andrews go to bookend the round. Jacobs and Cook. I really love the Jacobs pick, but Henry and Jacobs, I get the win now build from Ryan. I have no objections to that. As a strategy, personally, I can never force myself to do that. I go James Cook over Josh Jacobs 10 times out of 10. And then you see, Brandon Ayuk, who I think is much riskier than he was just 6 months ago. Adunze Metcalf and DJ Moore. And then, of course, Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, for me, is my QB6. I don't love it, but I don't know how much further I can push him down, especially if those weapons actually come in and are healthy. If he's got a healthy Rashee Rice the whole season, I think Patrick Mahomes with Xavier Worthy as well. Forget Hollywood Brown, who's now back in the fold. I think Patrick Mahomes is a much better season.
Yeah, Mahomes has the chance to really kick off, kind of peak Mahomes, what we're used to seeing. Because the back half of the year, basically starting week 12, only 2 times he was below 20 points in those games. So he's kind of showing us more with a vintage Mahomes what we were expecting to get. So I think going into next year with a healthy wide receiver core, if he gets it, Mahomes can be dynamite.
100%. And then you see round 7. I started with Burrow, then Pacheco, Zay, Pittman, Pickens, Tank, which someone's going to take Tank Dell. Probably not in round 6, but maybe around 7 or 8. Don't be the one who does it. Tank Dell is just a brutal injury, and we just don't know when he's going to return to form. He's a guy that for the time being, he's kind of dynasty dead to me. I think he'll return to form, but you just do not know when that's going to be. 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, who knows? Rashad White, don't do it. The 607, make sure you're not like Team 4, who I was praising a few minutes ago. And then you have JMO, Addison, great pick, Terry McLaurin, and then mix in Chase Brown, far too far. Chase Brown was just buried in these rankings. He's my Dynasty RB6, Jesse. What the hell?
That's the thing.
Chase Brown needs to go higher.
He does. He needs to go a lot higher because he was freaking awesome. So that's the guy I was hoping to fall to me. He did not fall to me. So I'm kind of panic drafting the spot, and I'll probably end up just going with the wide receiver. I'm not super high on here because I'm looking at the tight ends, man. It is rough at tight end. I don't want Pitts. Hawkinson was not himself last year, so it's not good. So yeah. Oh god, am I going to default to Jaden Reed on the clock? I think I am. Actually, let's just go down.
Don't do it.
Yeah, we're going to do down. So I call that okay. I don't feel great about that pick, but I was kind of in the in-between spot where I did not like a lot of these guys. And because I took a quarterback, I could not default to quarterback. So, that's the downside of taking a super high quarterback in one QB is these guys are still available this week.
Yeah, you want to try and push it for sure. But here's a guy who's hiding who I might take here in Chris Godwin. There's probably a few other guys who are hiding here. Jerry Jeudy is hiding. Cortland Sutton, even though, I would take those other guys over him. Jacoby Myers, we just had a show about. So I think there's a few guys left here. And because I'm on the turn, I am going to take my 5th wide receiver here. We start 2 wide receivers and we flex 3 players, non-tight end premium. So in its PPR league. So for me, I want the PPR monsters, and I'm going to go ahead and take Chris Godwin, whether he stays, which we believe is unlikely, or he goes to another team. I think he is the featured piece, if not the 1B, to somewhere in Washington, where maybe he and Terry McLaurin can complement each other. Maybe Cincinnati gives Godwin the money. I don't know if they have it, but that would be fun as hell. So I think that Chris Godwin is going to be highly valued, but certainly he's a bit buried in these rankings here.
Yeah, there's just a lot of risk with Godwin currently, and for me, because of the build I have, I'm more going youth, so he's not even a guy I'm interested in drafting until way later. But on the win now, we got to get reports that he's back to being healthy because you could miss this entire season with Godwin, and you just don't know how it's going to go. Sure. So as long as you're willing to accept that on your team building, you got some impact players on your roster. So I think it's fine to take him there. And if he does live up to expectations, comes back, he's already come back from a severe injury, you can do it again. That's a start.
And I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy. He's a guy who absolutely balled out. Not terrible picks there from the computers. But I'm happy with my 6 wide receivers. This is my typical 0 RB build that I'll go with. I have my quarterback. I have my tight end. I have my 6 wideouts. Now it's time to smash running back. What are you thinking here, Jesse, on the clock?
Yeah, I kind of an in-between spot. There are guys that I like. I could go kind of risky running back with certain guys that I don't want to say, and we'll see. What I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the guy who's replacing Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay. That's Jalen McMillan. He stepped right into that role, so I'm going to lock him up and just like insulate my roster with these young wide receivers. So I have, what is it, like 5 wide receivers now on this roster that I really like. Like, yeah, you could go Keon Coleman if you want, Devontae Adams. It's just like with Coleman, he was not that good. Like if you look at his peripherals and stuff, there's a lot of question marks with his profile. Now he does have the draft capital and things of that nature, and you could go Adams, but like with Adams, we don't know where he's going to go. So that's the one part.
Yeah.
With these older guys, I'm actually going to get to the point in time where I'm going to pull the trigger on them, just because we're getting to like young guys with just super risky profiles, and if that's the point, you might as well stick to it.
Yep. Totally agree. And yeah, Jalen McMillan is a great pick. I do think Chris Godwin gets some money. It was a tough run out for him. I do not think that because of Jalen McMillan, I do not think that, and we talked about this on another Fantasy Football Universe show, where Chris Godwin is just probably, Jalen McMillan has played Chris Godwin out of Tampa, and Cade Otton we saw was certainly more than capable in a similar role as well. So with Jalen McMillan stepping up, you got Chris Godwin leaving, and then where does he go? Does he go to the New York Giants? Does he go, like we said, to Washington? Who knows? There's a lot of places he could go, and he might be a little bit cheaper than he should be. Let's recap here a few of these rounds. So in round 7, we see those older running backs off the board in Chase Brown. We have 3 tight ends. Travis Kelce at the 704, a little too early, but Dalton Kincaid right there. Kyle Pitts. You see the ugly, disgusting, oh, wait, whoops, I need a tight end round. So you have to just be wary of that. Don't get caught there. If you don't look at this draft, right, in a 10-man, if you don't have a tight end by round 5, make sure that you go that you wait. And here's the thing, right? Like TJ Hawkinson, I know he had a down year and Addison emerged, but TJ Hawkinson is still on the board. You have David Njoku still on the board, Evan Ingram, who's probably got another season still on the board, Cole Kmet, who's proven capable and is still young. So there's a lot of options here for you. And then really, if you whiff, you got Cade Otton all the way down here. You got Tucker Kraft all the way down here. So you got some good options throughout. Tight end is deep. You do not need to be spending this premium capital when you could have guys like Jalen McMillan, like Jerry Jeudy, a shot on Anthony Richardson. You do not need to be spending this on a tight end in 1 QB.
No, like it really comes down to how far you want to push with tight ends. And to your point, as much as I like David Njoku, I have no idea what his quarterback situation is going to be.
Yeah, fair.
So that's what worries me with him, and why I prefer Hawkins to him for like long-term value. Hawkinson did have the knee injury and was not himself what he was the year before. I think he's going to bounce back. So I'm willing to bet on Hawkinson here and just lock up the tight end position. Because all we really need is a running back and a tight end, and there's a ton of good running backs. So I'll take the guy I know can stand out in Hawkinson, who's been a good player that I was career. We'll see. It could backfire on me. There goes Pollard, who's a really good pick in that spot, I think. Like an impact producer. Brooks, I mean, that's a tough one too, because he might be dynasty dead. We don't know. And then there's not.
He's not going to
running back. This round of running backs is just like just hope and pray that they work out. Like Kamara should see the volume because of his contracts. We don't know where Javonte ends up. Like Stevenson, it's really just rough shot at running back right now. So you're just trying to find guys who's in production.
Yeah, and this is the danger too. Is when you wait on running back, as I have, you run into this situation where you feel the need to take guys, and you either need older guys like a James Conner or a guy like Brian Robinson, who had a tough end of the season. I'm not really sure what that was up to. Aaron Jones has the potential, but we saw some issue. And then guys like Tajay Spears and Jalen Warren. I'm going to go ahead and take James Conner, and then I'm going to smash Brian Robinson. I don't love it. I think they could bring in another back here, but Eckler, we saw, is injury prone. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but if Brian Robinson remains the guy in this offense, I think he's a much better bet than a Jalen Warren or a Tajay Spears, who have limited upside simply because of the fact that they're not 3-down workhorse backs.
100%. Like, yeah, I'm with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the guy that's actually fallen a lot farther in rankings, who's buried in that. It's pause. Okay, that's why I can't remove.
I cannot allow Zamir White to be picked.
I was wondering who it was. I saw Njoku. I was like, why are we removing Njoku? Yeah, no. Just give them
Aaron Jones.
I guess, Aaron Jones is probably the best bet.
Yeah.
Or you can give him wide receiver. That's fine. Either one's fine.
That's fine. There you go. All yours.
All right. So I need RB2 here. I could take a lot of these guys. I think like it really comes down to if I want to go Tyrone Tracy, live with that because he's a lot younger, or go Chuba Hubbard. I have 2 decisions on this. I know whichever guy I don't take, someone's going to take behind me because there's running backs and there's not that many. So Chuba was awesome. I don't know how likely it is that Tracy stays as the RB1 there. I think it's more likely that Chuba is the RB1.
Yeah.
But man, like Tracy is super tempting for me. And I think they're about the same age because Chuba's what? Chuba's 25. Tracy's going to be 25 this year.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both the same age. I'm going to take Tracy, and I don't like it. We'll see how that goes. I think Chuba's a lot safer. I know I talked myself into Tracy on the clock. I think both of those guys, like you can go either one. Chuba was awesome down the stretch. That role, yeah, I'll probably regret the Tracy pick. But you know, let him know such a way.
No, I'm
so I got to rip my guy.
I'm taking Tracy over James Conner. Maybe not over James Conner, but definitely over Brian Robinson at this point. I'm taking Chuba over both of these guys. This is just a situation where they are buried. Good Lord.
It's fine. Somebody's got to take him.
No, I cannot allow this. I am gonna give him a running back. We'll give him Tajay or Jalen. Make a pick.
Tajay.
All right, Tajay it is. That's your boy.
Yes, sir.
Why not? I don't think he gets the full-on role, but hell, he looked great in the last couple of weeks of the regular season. So
yeah, he's really good, man. It's just injuries, and they have a good running back there, Tony Pollard, who was off the roster. So we'll see how it works out for that offense, but they need pieces, man. There's that really boy, he got his guy.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Trey Benson is, what do you think about this in a it's tough betting on a team that really isn't elite, but what would you think about taking like a James Conner and a Trey Benson if I had done that at the turn? Do you think that's definitely limiting your upside, but at the same time, you're locking in theoretically, who knows what they do at running back, but you're kind of locking in running back on a team? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I certainly didn't do it.
Yeah. Much like when you're trying to kind of like lock up a position, which is why I prefer this Ghost Energy drink. Hey guys, if you guys want to sponsor us, come on, do it. It's super good. But hey, stop doing that, please. We're on the clock. Stop. Stop, please. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I don't know what's happening. Okay. All I want to say, and say locking in that position is safety. You know what you're getting. The upside shot is what you're doing. You're betting on 2 backups instead of 1. So I like that.
Totally agree. As you look at who you're going to pick next, I'm just going to recap the last couple of rounds. So we saw round 8 here with Judy, Debo, Cup, McMillan, who we talked about, Herbert, and Stroud. Stroud is going to go eventually. He's a good pick eventually. I don't know if I'm taking him there. We see Jaden Reed and Cortland Sutton at the 8-9 turn. And then you have all those running backs we were talking about that you can see in the 9th round. You're really just hoping that one of these guys or both of these guys have a year or 2 left in them for decent production. In the 10th round, we talked about a lot of these guys: Tyrone Tracy, Tajay Spears, J.K. Dobbins is another guy who slipped way too far. And there goes Chuba. Great value with Baker in 1 QB because he was like the QB 4 on the season or 5. And then Caleb Williams, who I love there as well. Who are you thinking about picking here in the 11th round?
I don't like any of these guys, to tell you the truth. I was almost going to default to quarterback here and just kind of lock up the QB room. Yeah. The problem is you get no trade value from these quarterbacks, so it's kind of just like, what's the point?
Good point.
I think I'm just going to take the safety of a wide receiver. Oh, God, I'm going to do it. I'm taking Deontay Johnson, just living with a disaster.
Oh,
there goes. I love myself some Deontay. Find a job, buddy. I did not have him queued up, but his name was there, and I was like, let's have fun with this. I got to get him in on the mock.
Deontay has the ability to have an absolutely crazy, let's say Houston shocks the world and wins a playoff game. I can't remember. Oh, they're playing now, aren't they? Let's say they shock the world. Are they playing the Ravens?
No, they are playing. Who are they playing this week? I am blanking on it. They are playing the Chargers. They're playing right now, though.
Okay. So let's say they shock the world and win. Deontay Johnson has the ability to go absolutely nuclear in the playoffs and raise his stock. Will it happen? Probably not. But it would be a fun thing to see. Jerome Ford is an interesting pick there, but I just do not know what the heck they're going to do at running back, so I need to skip that. Rico Dowdle is a guy who probably won't hold on to the job. but he's a good player. But I'm going to go with Jaylen Warren. I just think he has the ability to lock down a role. We saw him. He's a hyper efficient back. And even though he may not stay in Pittsburgh, I think he has a better chance to stay in Pittsburgh. And I think he has the better chance over Najee Harris to earn a fantasy meaningful role because of his explosiveness. So I'm going to take him there. And because I need to smash running back, I hate it. Tyler Algier, I really like long term. So he's kind of a good bet for me. But I'm going to go Rico Dowdle. I'm just going to go with the heavy volume and the fact that Dallas doesn't know what's going on at all. Will Ashton Genty go there? I don't know, but we thought Bijan was going to go there, and then we thought Brooks was going to go there. Like, what the hell are they doing? I have no idea. I don't want to do that, Jesse. I can't do that to myself. Good Lord, what am I going to do?
You're like, stop.
2,
1. What's
no.
No! Oh no! Not Polk! Oh,
terrible.
Did you want to replace that with somebody else?
Yeah, I think we need to do that maybe after the draft is over.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna take a guy that is absolutely buried in ranks. It's Rashid Shaheed. He was actually better than Chris Olave on target earning basis and everything. I get it. He's coming off an injury, but all news is it's going to be fine. And he's not older like Jacoby Myers. I think he's 26. He's a little bit older, but
I would have taken
Derek Carr's coming back. Everything they need to fix the line. I'll say that. Rashid Shaheed averaged over 50 points a game. He was really, really good. He's a playmaker. So I'll take the outside shot here because at this point in the draft, the young guys are cooked. There's no one left. Yeah. It's basically you're either getting producers or finding someone in the middle. Like it's the Calvin Ridleys of the world, the really old guys.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's the tough spot where it's really the draft terms here where you're like, it gets rough. It gets rough fast.
Yeah. Jalen Polk is absolutely not the pick that I wanted to make.
Atrocious.
I think I'll sub it with so it doesn't look horrible. I'll sub it with Jacoby Myers, and we'll call it a day.
That's fine.
I'm gonna pause it on Ryan here. It's gonna remove. I hope I steal his guy. Actually, we'll see.
I mean, there's not a lot of good options in this area, so I'd be like, no, not Jacoby. Okay, he take Marvin Mims.
Can I not get Jacoby? What's happening here? There he is. He was down here. I have to do it from here. Yeah. All right. Resume. Yeah. I don't love that pick either, but at least it's a better pick than Jalen Polk.
It's a guy that has some value, right? Ooh,
Mooney is the better pick for sure. There's definitely some guys here. We need to make sure that we sort through the rosters for you, but at least this is a really good run out here. So, Jesse, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about your team here. I'm going to bring it up as I just mentioned to the chat. A thank you. And let's see. You got McMillan, Deontay, and Shaheed below. Here's your starting roster. So you want to talk a little bit about how you're feeling about your team?
Yeah, it's like borderline playoffs. I don't feel great about contending status just because I'm an RB2, my tight end's a little up in the air, and my flexes are all upside shots. So I'm more playing the value game, but trying to intermix some impact production on top of it because I know I have Lamar, I have Bucky, I have Puka, like Lad. That's kind of my big four, and then I will roll with the rest and hope. Need a couple upside shots from these guys to hit to really compete with, say, Big James' team because his team is stacked with impact producers. But I like it long term. So overall, I think it's a solid roster. I'd maybe change a couple picks, but you know what? Could do worse, I would say. So I'd give it like a 6 or 7 as far as like mock drafts go. Something I'm okay with.
Nice. Yeah, I really like it. Bucky and Tyrone Tracy, you got the young bucks because certainly let's assume Tyrone Tracy keeps the job. You're running back. You're settled here for potentially 2 to 3 years. If they love what Tyrone Tracy did for them, and then all across the board, you're good with your wide receiver depth here. So I really love this team and love what you were able to do. Let's look at my team briefly before we go through all of the other teams. I didn't feel too good about my team in the last mock draft, even though I felt like it was pretty good. Here, the running backs obviously are a massive problem, but I do think there is value in James Conner. Will Brian Robinson hold the job for multiple years? I don't know, but he's certainly good when healthy. But Jaden Daniels may nuke his value as well, the way he's playing, just throwing the ball over the field and running at will. But my wide receivers, I'm very happy with. Yeah, Chris Godwin has the injury situation. He's going to be out for most, if not all, of the offseason. We'll see what happens with him, but I'm comfortable with subbing in Judy for the time being. Jacoby Myers is a reasonable flex as well. And I have the young wide receivers who I believe will grow with Mark Andrews, who the volume has to return, at least in some capacity, I would assume. But Derrick Henry really nuked his value as well. We talked about A.J. Brown's value being nuked by Saquon. Mark Andrews is another one who got nuked by Derrick Henry. So it's been a rough run out, but Mark Andrews was still like tight end 6, tight end 7 on the season. So he caught a bunch of touchdowns. He was hyper efficient over the second half. So I'm pretty happy with this build outside of running back, but I'm never happy with my running backs. So
yeah, like I think to your point, Mark Andrews second half of the year was like the tight end 1 or tight end 2. He was really good down the stretch. He can kind of, that injury went under the radar and knows why he struggled first half of the year. Second half of the year, he kind of get back in. His targets and his routes run were kind of getting back to not peak Mark Andrews, but really good usage. So I think he'll come back strong. It really comes down to like these flex positions, how it goes. I think Judy's a really good pick. He probably should go about 3 or 4 rounds higher to tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, is it going out? But yeah, I think it's a good pick. Like it's a solid squad with upside if you hit on those running backs.
Yep, I dig it. I'm gonna give you a team that I like. And I'm going to talk about Ryan's team. Ryan and I from the 2-hole are usually pretty aligned in terms of who we like. If you want to take a look at the board while I talk about Ryan and see if there's a team that you like outside of the teams we've already discussed. But Justin Jefferson, obviously, I don't love him as the 102, but he is currently my 102. I think he's a little handcuffed because of his quarterback situation. He was still like the wide receiver 3 on the season or 4. He was absolutely a monster, simply because he's Justin Jefferson. But I prefer the situation of Puka Nacua, who we've talked about ad nauseum at the 106. He's my wide receiver 3. You could move him up to wide receiver 2 if you wanted. But then Ryan goes with Bowers, stud. I mean, there's no argument there. Obviously, Drake London, I love him. Finishes top 6 wide out this season. And then Henry Jacobs, Chase Brown, and J.K. Dobbins and Kamara. I mean, this team is a force. And especially when you consider it's PPR with Brown and Kamara there. You have the ability here to interchange some of those guys. And I don't love the CJ Stroud pick, but he is going to fall this far. And he's obviously very young, had the sophomore slump that we hate to see, but that situation exists for some. I think CJ Stroud will come back stronger. So I really think that this team is set up for success. I didn't mention Addison. I didn't mention Mooney, Khalil Shakir. So some really good upside shots on wide receiver and a studly running back room.
Yeah, you kind of know what you're going for when you put this build together, right? When you like hammer running back in those middle rounds and insulate because you have impact producers or wide receiver. Addison's under the radar, and to your point, like Mooney's a good pick. Shakir's another under the radar guy. They'll be producers, might not be the most valuable guys, but they're going to give you production. Really, that's all that matters. So it might be tough for Henry and Jacobs to repeat what they did, but even if they drop off a little bit, you're still going to be really strong. So yeah, that's a really good running back room that you'll like for the next 2 years, which is all you really need a running back, right? So it'll be good. So yeah, it's going to be a contender in your one. Like that's what you like to see.
How about you? Is there any team outside of the ones we mentioned that you're feeling good about?
Yeah, SC has some good picks here. It's kind of like with Monty, Charbonnet, and Benson, it can kind of go all over the place because we saw what they did with Gibbs. But you have James Cook, who's I think is perennially undervalued. Like James Cook, like what's the difference between Ken Walker and James Cook? Like why is Walker going 2 rounds above James Cook? Stuff like that, right? Like I think it's a really good squad, and you're expecting a bounce back from Devonta Smith because of that offense and how it goes. If he hits on these running backs down, like if Benson takes the job or if something happens and Charbonnet gets the job, then you have the running back room kind of secure and you can match it because you have Nico and Amon-Ra, like 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You got McBride, you got Herbert, who's that elite guy, and you got super late. So yeah, man, you could talk yourself into that squad for sure. How do you feel about kicking at 40 squad? Because this is the one I can't make up my mind about. I think the Daniels pick was really good. The back half though is like a lot of upside shots, so that can go like a bunch of different ways. Outside, once you get past Daniels, it's I got question marks, but I like it. It's solid.
Yeah, like you said. Well, first of all, if I remember correctly, the Tank Dell pick was an auto pick for him, so certainly it probably wouldn't have been Tank. I would assume it would have been JMO, Addison, Terry, and then I like this team a lot more. But Kyron, of course, Bijan, yeah. Ramondre is a really tough evaluation for me. I have no idea why we signed him to a 4-year deal. Certainly years on a deal don't matter in NFL contracts because we know how they operate. At the same time, Ramondre Stevenson, it fell apart and they just went to Antonio Gibson the last couple of weeks. So I don't know what's happening there, but he's got two of the better, if not two of the best running backs in the league. But yeah, his wide receivers are a little too upsidey for me. I think you have to have a lot of these guys hit at the same time. So I agree with you there. That's my concern. And then the tight end room, I do not like. Ferguson is necessary in Dallas, and he's fine. But Dalton Kincaid should turn it around, but I don't know. I don't know if he will.
Yeah. I like the Ferguson pick range more than I like the Kincaid pick. Just because like the Kincaid and Pitts picks scare the crap out of me. Both of them seem like super upside shot. Ferguson gives you like a floor play, and that's nice. I think Dallas's offense is going to bounce back. Like it's going to be really hard for them to be as bad as they were again this year with Dak and all those guys coming back. So if they fix that line, I think Ferguson can definitely take a massive upside swing in the ranks. So yeah, I don't mind it. But yeah, to your point, the wide receiver room is a little bit to be desired because Wilson has no quarterback. Worthy's good, but like outside of that, you're banking on Pearsall to step forward. So like I like the Pearsall pick over Dell and Coleman for sure.
Yep, totally agree. We're just going to fly through a couple of these teams, absent of what's going on the board and just see how we feel about them. So we got Big Game James with Baker, Saquon, Achane. Love that so far. Jamar, Mike Evans, I thought was an interesting pick in that it was a little too high for my liking, but of course he's going to give you 1,000-yard season, I think, for one more year, and do what he can to produce. If he gives you those, 10 to 14 touchdowns, you're going to be very happy with that. McLaurin, Mixon, Reed. So we got a mixture of young and old, but he got Chuba at the insane discount. If you're rolling with this team, how do you feel about your chances winning year one?
You're the favorite. Like you're looking at this squad, like this squad is the favorite year one. Like you have the best wide receiver in the NFL. You have the best running back for fantasy. You have Achane, who was super inefficient, but was still a top 12 running back. Like the mixing stuff, like this back half of the draft is actually really strong for production. You have McLaurin, who's a target producer. Mixon is going to get a ton of touches. Jaden Reed's the upside shot, but Cortland Sutton is your guy, Cortland Sutton. He's going to be in that role again with Bo Nix, right? And then there's Chuba Hubbard, who could possibly be another top 12 running back. So rounding out with Baker, which is the key, you get a decent back-end QB1 if that worst case, any high upside. So, yeah, this team's definitely the favorite year one. If they have the pieces based on what we've seen, that they should be pushing towards the 1 seed, I would say.
Yeah, and that is everyone that we've discussed already outside of computer picks. You see there's a few anomalous situations in the Matrix. We have Christian McCaffrey and ETN. Hell no, that high. Tyreek Hill, absolutely not. But we just did not go back and replace all these things. This is why we need you to join up our mock drafts. We're going to be running them on Saturdays, most likely around this time. So if you're available, especially right before, I believe we have some Saturday games the next 2 weekends, at least the next weekend as well in the playoffs here. So we'll be running them about an hour before. At least that's the plan. About an hour before the Saturday games, around 3:30. Unless they move them up, then we'll have to modify things. But if you want to find out when the mocks run, please follow at Adjust the Ranks on Twitter. We're also on YouTube for the full shows, and then we have shorts on YouTube and on TikTok. So follow on all channels to check us out throughout the off season. We're beginning super early, but the whole point of beginning super early is to see where the market leans in terms of how these guys start, how free agency affects their value, how the draft affects their value, and then really where they are throughout the offseason. By the time we get to June, July, August, Jesse, we should have a really good understanding of how far these guys have come. And then if there's fool's gold in the mix that we need to pick out and throw out and, get the hell out of here and never draft them again, George Pickens.
Yeah, there's gonna be a ton of guys falling, like because we don't have the rookie picks in here, right? And those rookies, so we're gonna see a lot of these guys fall down a round or two in this, like, it's super flex. The quarterbacks jump up too. So yeah, 100%. Like it's gonna be a fun off season. Yeah, I'm excited to see what else you got at Adjust the Ranks. So it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're a brand new channel, so follow us everywhere, like we just mentioned. Jesse's going to be on more often than he'd like because I'll force him to. And then we got some other guys. Ryan Pros, who was in the draft, is going to come on the show. We're also going to be doing some best ball stuff. Ryan is big in the best ball streets, especially on Underdog, which I cannot access here in Amsterdam, which is good because I would lose all my money doing it. But then also, we're going to make sure that we get into redraft when redraft season hits. We're going to get into rookie drafts, and we're going to be, covering everything, Dynasty monthly, really. So make sure that you stay tuned. And I think probably by the time, March, I'd say end of March, early April rolls around, we're going to be drafting 3 times a week and just putting out a crap ton of content. So stay tuned, get in these drafts. If nothing else, you make sure that you have your roster and your draft evaluated by us in the shows. So sign up, check it out. And, we're going to be here all off season and beyond. And, thanks for joining us. Anything else to say, Jesse, or should we just end it there?
Follow ATR, baby. It's gonna be a fun offseason. End it out.
Wait. Before I sign out, I'm gonna play you another one. I got a couple. Let's see. This one I like. This is a good one. Come on, kids. Let's adjust those ranks.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. That's the good one right there. That's the good stuff.
Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, one more. Last one.
Hey baby, come on a little closer. It's time to adjust the ranks.
We don't know what the hell we're doing here. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to keep it professional as much as possible. Listen,
get hot in here. Watch out.
Yeah. Hey, baby. Listen, if you like this content, or even if you don't, just follow along. We're here. We're always open to, as well, suggestion in terms of what mocks you want to see. So please put those through. And it's been another hour of content. Jesse, I'm done. It's been like 3 hours of potting. I'm going to bed. It's 11 p.m. here. Hopefully you're enjoying some football right now. I'm going to go see what the score is, but I am Jeremy Shulman at Adjust the Ranks and at FF_Rebel on Twitter. This is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. Please join us every and all Adjust the Ranks and over on the Fantasy Football Universe for all of your content needs. But we're going to go. See you later. And if I end it, will it play the outro? It will. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching another video from Adjust the Ranks. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all these platforms for ranks, mocks, and more. And we will see you next time.